going to talk about multiplying mixed numbers by whole numbers. So we're going to take all the knowledge we have from multiplying fractions by whole numbers and we're going to apply it to what we know here. This is going to go on page 71 of your journal. So in the next page, you're going to put it on the right hand side, and then we'll do some more practice problems after this anchor chart on the left hand side. So on page 71 of your journal, you're going to write multiplying mixed numbers. Mr. Oshman's going to start using the pound symbol or the number symbol, not the hashtag symbol, because we're going to start writing a lot more procedural stuff, and it's going to be just too hard for me to write numbers a bunch of times. You'll see when we get there. So this is the number symbol, just in case you were confused. So we're multiplying mixed numbers by whole numbers. So for this, our very first problem is going to be 3 2/5 times 6. So what is the very first thing that we need to do for this problem? We need to stop and we need to observe it. What do we observe about this problem? So we're looking for what is the operation, denominators, all of those types of things. So we're going to look at this problem and we're going to think, what do we observe? Maybe we observe that it's a multiplication problem. Maybe next we observe that we are that's a mixed number and that's a whole number. So this number has two different pieces to it. Maybe we observe that 5 does not go into 6 evenly. Maybe that's something else we observe, which is something we should be looking for because that's what we learned when we multiplied fractions by whole numbers. So I'm going to show you how to solve this problem. If I had just this, 2/5 times 6, what would our answer be? What number would our answer be? Would it be a whole number or would it be a mixed number or a fraction? Hopefully we're all saying that it would be a mixed number or a fraction because 5 does not go into 6 evenly. That rule and thinking still applies here. So 3 2/5 times 6 is going to give us a mixed number. And I also want us to think about what we know about scaling here. If I multiply a fraction times a whole number and my fraction is smaller than 1, my answer is going to be smaller than my whole number. But if I multiply a whole number times a whole number, my answer is going to be larger than this whole number, right? If I multiply 3 times 6, I'm going to get something larger than 6. So if I multiply 3 2/5 times 6, is my answer going to be larger than if I multiplied it only by 3 times 6? It is, because not only am I multiplying it 2 wholes, I'm also going to take parts of this and put it together. So our answer should be around, based on what we know, 3 times 6, it should be around 18 maybe. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we have to break these numbers up. Just like when we think about when we have tenths, hundredths, thousandths behind our whole number, this is also that same sort of concept. So we have to break this up into the whole number and the fraction. And then we have to take each one of those pieces and we have to multiply it times our whole number. It'd be the same thing if I had 3 4/10, like 3.4. I multiply my whole and then I'm also multiplying my tenths. So we're doing the same sort of thinking that we do when we're talking about numbers in base 10. So we have to split this up. So we're going to pull out the whole number from our mixed number, which is going to be 3. And we're going to multiply it times 6. Then we're going to add that to the fraction of our mixed number, which is 2/5 times the whole number, which is 6. and now we're gonna do the math. So that's what we do. We break up our mixed number into whole and parts, or whole and fraction, and then we take each one of those and we multiply it. We're putting it in expanded form, and then we're multiplying the parts together. So we're going to add, we're gonna go 3 times 6 is 18. We're gonna add whatever this is. So we already looked at the beginning and we saw that 5 didn't go into 6 evenly. That means that whatever this answer is gonna be a fraction or a mixed number. It's gonna not be a nice even whole number that we wanna work with. So we can't model this, so we just have to do the math. And if we remember how to multiply a fraction times a whole number, we take our whole number and we multiply it times our numerator. So we go 2 times 6 is 12, and we place it all over our whole number, which is, or all over our denominator, which is 5, okay? Because really we have 6 all over 1, and we multiply numerators and denominators to get this answer. Then we stop and we observe it. 12 fifths. Do we really want to add 12 fifths to 18? I hope not. So we're going to convert this into a mixed number. So we're going to divide 12 by 5. And I'm going to write my multiples, 5, 10, 15. I can stop because 15 is larger than 12. And then I think, how many times can 5 go into 1? It cannot. How many times can 5 go into 12? 2 times. I go 2 times 5 is 10. Subtract 2 minus 0 is 2. 1 minus 1 is 0. This is a good remainder because it is smaller than our divisor. So it becomes our numerator and 5 becomes our denominator. So 12 fifths equals 2 and 2 fifths. Well, I'm going to add that. That's this part of this problem. I got to bring it down here and add it to 18. So then I go, I add up the same part. So I would add, if I had fractions over here, I'd add the 2 fractions together. And I'm going to add the whole numbers together. So 18 plus 2 is 20. And then I don't have anything to add here. Is this in our championship answer form? Well, we look at our fraction. What do we know about 2? 2 is a prime number. And it cannot go evenly into 5, which is also a prime number. So this is our championship answer. So 3 and 2 fifths times 6 equals 20 and 2 fifths. So what is the procedure for this? Well, the procedure is, we take the whole number, from the mixed number, and we multiply it times the whole number, and then we add it to the fraction from the mixed number, by the whole number. Ooh, dang. So we go whole number times the mixed number times the whole number, then the fraction of the mixed number times the whole number. And we figure out the multiplication and we add them. What kind of problem is this where we have multiple steps and we have parentheses and we have to do certain things first? What kind of problem is that?